I'll be staying over tonight, so please accommodate us, she said. Excuse me. I've mentioned before that I'm watching a play nearby tonight. Since it ends late, I suggested we all stay here during her son's absence, I explained. The mother-in-law arrived unexpectedly with 7 friends, seemingly disregarding my situation. She acted as if everything was settled and said, "But you'll be back soon, right? We'll just drop our stuff and head out for a while. Can you prepare dinner and sleeping arrangements for us?" Having endured the mother-in-law's brazen behavior without confrontation for so long, I finally reached my limit. I can't. I have a trip planned starting now. What trip? Who are you going with? Her surprised response came as a shock to the usually non-confrontational me. Having had enough of her excessive harassment, I finally drew the line. Please give me back that necklace. It was time for the mother-in-law to face the consequences of her actions. I introduced myself as Michelle Gorman, a 30-year-old housewife. After getting married, I used my administrative experience to work as a computer class instructor. My husband, Mike, served as the president of his father's subsidiary, keeping him busy most days, though he sometimes appeared deep in thought. I cherished our favorite movie dates when he'd say, "I feel lighter when I'm with you." I wished I could ease his burdens and offer advice, but expressing my opinions had always been a struggle for me. Since I was young, I preferred listening to others over talking about myself. My older brother, 4 years my senior, always looked out for me. I used to resent this about myself, but Mike's reassurance had boosted my confidence. Mike also had an older brother who served as the vice president in their father's company. His wife, Mindy, was close in age to me, and we got along well. She was a career-driven woman, both reliable and kind. I admired how she stood her ground and expressed her opinions while remaining understanding and adaptable. Witnessing her confront the mother-in-law had been truly impressive. However, since they lived far away, I regretted not being able to see them often. On the other hand, the mother-in-law behaved with the air of a company president's daughter, always confident, but her stubbornness and arrogance were evident. She often reprimanded me, overwhelming me with her pressure. "Michelle, you're the wife of Mike, the president. You should quit being a computer instructor and fully support your husband," she'd say. Mike would back me up, but she'd remain displeased. I sometimes felt relieved that we lived apart. I hoped for a peaceful life with Mike and eventually being blessed with children. However, Mike's father's sudden passing from a heart attack changed everything. It was hard for everyone to accept, yet Mike and his brother had to think about the company's future. Mike decided to stay in New York for a while, and I returned home, anxiously waiting for his call. With added responsibilities on their shoulders, I worried about the two of them. After discussions with his brother, it was decided that Mike would transfer to the New York headquarters, while his brother became the president and Mike was appointed vice president. We searched for a house in New York, settling on a pre-built single-family home, even though it was a bit far from the station. It provided a sense of security and good sunlight, promising a comfortable life with Mike. As Mike had to work late due to the handover tasks, I made sure to create a comfortable environment at home for him to rest properly. I also prepared balanced lunches, wanting to do everything I could to support him. A month flew by in this manner. One evening, Mike arrived home and said, "I'm hungry. Thanks for working so late. I'll get dinner ready. Thanks, Michelle. My mom mentioned she wants to come over this weekend. Is that okay?" I had been worried that she might be feeling down since my father-in-law passed away, so hearing this was a relief. Of course, we still have some areas to tidy up, but she's more than welcome. "Thanks, I'll let her know." "Oh, maybe I should invite my brother and his wife too." "Yeah, that sounds good," I replied, even though it felt a bit inappropriate. Moving here had made it easier for me to frequently meet Mindy, my sister-in-law, which was a pleasant surprise. That weekend, we all gathered to catch up on the current situation and share memories of my father-in-law. It was really sad that Dad was gone, but I felt I shouldn't be down forever, so I started taking up a hobby. Seeing my mother-in-law's cheerful face brought relief. She always carried herself with elegance, wearing beautiful dresses and lovely accessories. Today, she looked stylish with a pale purple scarf that stood out. She seemed to have lost a little weight, but her firmness in advising Mike and his brother on company matters hadn't changed. However, since my father-in-law's passing, I noticed that her strict remarks towards me increased. "Michelle, we're running low on drinks. Could you go buy some, Jessica?" "I can go get them," I offered. "Oh, can you? That would be helpful," she replied, but I sensed that she was more commanding towards me than she was with Mindy. I thought she might be struggling with the loss of her husband, so I decided to observe and let her comments slide for a while. After dinner, Mike drove everyone home, and the night came to an end. Since then, for some reason, my mother-in-law began visiting our home frequently. She started criticizing my housework and complaining about Mindy. Moreover, she began going through our fridge without permission, which left me stunned. "Michelle, Mike's so busy right now. You should pay more attention to the meals you prepare for him. What if he collapses too? And there's still trash here. Can't you clean up perfectly?" It continued like this, and it felt as though she was picking on me just to pass the time. But when Mindy would visit, she'd quickly leave, saying she had other things to do. She claimed it wasn't because she disliked me, but I felt otherwise. Perhaps she found it easier to assert herself over me, who rarely countered, than over Mindy, who always spoke her mind. I contemplated finding a job to spend less time at home, but even after finding one, the harassment from my mother-in-law intensified. "Michelle, we ran out of barbecue sauce at our place. Get some, please. While you're out, I brought a container with me, so let me take some leftovers," she said casually. Her audacity sometimes left me dumbfounded. She could just as easily buy premium ingredients from an upscale store. Then, an incident occurred. A necklace I cherished disappeared. It was a keepsake from my mother, which I had kept safely on a shelf in my room. The only person I could think of was my mother-in-law, who frequently visited. Though I didn't want to suspect her, she often looked around our home and probably knew where most things were. Despite searching everywhere, it remained missing, so I decided to confront her about it. That's when she responded with a fierce yell. "You probably lost it yourself. How dare you suspect me? What kind of person are you?" "I'm sorry, I searched everywhere I could think of, but I couldn't find it. It's a keepsake from my mother, and it means a lot to me." More than the anger I felt towards being accused, I was devastated about losing my mother's keepsake, and tears began to roll down. "I don't care, it's just a necklace." "Why don't you just have Mike buy you a new one?" she retorted. I realized she wouldn't understand my feelings and decided not to discuss it further. However, incidents kept occurring where money from my wallet and other items around the house would go missing. Though I kept a watchful eye on my mother-in-law's actions, I never saw her take anything. Confused and emotionally exhausted, I confided in many who asserted that my mother-in-law was definitely the prime suspect. No one else had access to our home. The realization saddened me, yet there was no concrete evidence of her theft, and I couldn't understand why she would do such a thing, especially since she continued to live a lavish lifestyle from the inheritance left by my father-in-law. Seeing my distress, Mindy made a suggestion. Little did I know at the time where this would lead. About 2 weeks after speaking to Mindy, "I'll be off then, Michelle. Just relax and enjoy your trip, okay? Be careful." Mike and his brother were going on a business trip to meet with a company from another state. Knowing about their trip, Mindy thought it was the perfect opportunity for me to take a break. "It might be a good time for us to take a break," Mindy said, inviting me on a short vacation. Recently, I had been mentally and physically drained, so the idea of a getaway was appealing. I packed early and placed my travel bag near the entrance, waiting for departure time. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Wondering who it could be, I checked the video feed to find my mother-in-law. Not only her, but she was accompanied by several others. "Hello, Michelle. I brought some friends. Please open up," she said. Opening the front door, I found my mother-in-law and about 7 of her friends, all carrying large bags. Were they going somewhere? "We're staying here tonight. Make us comfortable." "Excuse me, didn't I mention it?" We're seeing a play nearby tonight, and since it ends late, we're all staying here. This was news to me, and my departure time was approaching. Oh, did I inconvenience you? I heard from Jessica that you were open to having us. I hadn't heard anything of the sort, and it seemed she was making up the story as she went along. Growing increasingly frustrated, I replied firmly, I'm sorry, but I wasn't informed of this, and I have plans. To my reply, she looked taken aback. But you'll be back soon, right? We'll drop our bags and head out for a bit. Just prepare dinner and sleeping arrangements for us, she said, ignoring the fact that I had plans. I knew I couldn't let this slide. I can't. I'm going on a trip. A trip with whom? With Mindy. Oh, just with Mindy? You can go any time. We've come all this way just for today. How long are you going to make us wait? Just then, I noticed something glinting around her neck. Wait, that necklace you're wearing. To my astonishment, it was the same necklace that was a keepsake from my mother. Jessica, where did you get that necklace? Why, it's just one of my collections. Is there a problem? She answered with a smug look. That can't be right. That necklace is a limited edition, and not many are out there. While I was exchanging words with her, Mindy arrived. I was wondering why you didn't show up at our meeting place and didn't contact me, so this is what was happening. I'm sorry I couldn't get in touch, Mindy. Seeing my expression, Mindy instantly knew something was amiss. What happened? I got upset because the necklace she's wearing is the same one as my mother's that went missing recently. The one you kept in that box, Mindy said loud enough for everyone to hear. Suddenly, my mother-in-law, trying to keep it from her friends, whispered to us, Can you stop? It's embarrassing. Do you want to accuse me of theft? My mother-in-law snapped, her voice firm. Mindy answered back just as firmly, Do you have any proof that I stole it? It's embarrassing having such unreasonable daughters-in-law. Please don't make a scene in front of my friends. With that, my mother-in-law turned back to her friends, wearing a smile. Well, let's go inside, everyone. As she attempted to move inside, something struck me. The initials, Jessica. Can I have a look, please? I asked quickly. Mindy hurried behind her and checked the necklace. Enough of this. What's your mother's name? It's Kate Young. So the initials should be Kai. I pointed out the engraved initials on the necklace, confirming it was indeed my mother's keepsake. The friends looked horrified and stepped back. But my mother-in-law wasn't willing to back down. Stop this. I didn't come here for this. Let's go, everyone. We're not letting you go, Mindy said determinedly. The friends sensed the tension and quickly muttered, We're not involved, before heading towards the subway. However, as my mother-in-law tried to follow her friends, Mike, my husband, appeared. What are you doing here? Weren't you supposed to be on a business trip? He questioned, his expression stern. It turned out Mike's business trip was scheduled for the next day. He had purposely given his mother a false date to investigate her actions. Mindy had informed Mike about the missing items from our house, and he had become suspicious. His plan was to invite friends for an overnight stay, expecting his mother to visit when she thought he wasn't home. What do you want at our house? I confronted my mother-in-law as she tried to leave. Give it back. That necklace belongs to Michelle's parents. Why do you have it, Mom? It's not what you think. I found it in my purse. Michelle must have set me up, she retorted, trying to shift the blame to me. Do you really think such a lie would work? There's no way Michelle would do something like that. First, give the necklace back to Michelle. We'll talk after that. Reluctantly, my mother-in-law took off the necklace and threw it on the ground. She attempted to run away, but we tried to chase her, only to stop when we saw police officers arriving. Why are you talking about entering our house when we weren't home? I never did such a thing. I always come when you're home, my mother-in-law protested, looking annoyed. The police officers explained that a local resident had reported someone sneaking into our backyard and entering the house when the owners were away. They mentioned the witness had seen my mother-in-law using a spare key hidden in our backyard. Mike's realization about the spare key sent shivers down our spines. Why were you coming into our house when we weren't home? Mike questioned his mother, his voice filled with confusion and disappointment. It's all lies. You're going to believe some unknown person's story, she retorted. But the police officer stepped in calmly. Let's talk about this at the station. I didn't do anything. Mike, say something. Stop this. My mother-in-law pleaded, but it was clear she had a lot to answer for. The mother-in-law collapsed to the ground, seemingly out of options, her escape routes dwindling. However, just when it appeared she was defeated, she flew into a rage. After your father passed away, I felt so lonely. Seeing her always so cheerful, I couldn't stand it. I felt better seeing her troubled. I wanted her to feel the pain I felt. She spat out, her anger irrational and unfounded. Mike was red-faced, struggling to comprehend her twisted reasoning. Mike, wait. Let me speak, I said, stepping in front of him, feeling the need to confront the issue head-on. I understand where you're coming from, Jessica. Perhaps I've been neglectful by always brushing off our talks. However, stealing is a different matter entirely. Did you want to upset me? Don't be ridiculous. Did you find joy in pushing someone to their limits with such a twisted and dirty scheme? Did that fill the void of your loneliness? Shut up. What do you know about me? If you're feeling down, then tell us. We can't read minds. Don't make fun of me. Why would I tell you anything, you worthless daughter-in-law? She snapped back. Mom, Michelle's right, Mike said, trying to calm the situation. But his words fell on deaf ears. Seeing that the situation wasn't progressing, the police intervened, suggesting they move to the station. Are you really going to take me in? I can't believe this, she protested, resisting arrest. Despite her resistance, given the eyewitness accounts of her unlawful entry and suspicion of theft, the police decided to question my mother-in-law. She was promptly arrested on charges of unlawful entry and theft. She continued to protest, demanding a lawyer and refusing to eat the food given to her. However, during visitation, her father exploded in anger, urging her to deeply reflect on her actions. To that, her attitude completely changed. She cried and apologized, seemingly accepting the reality. Perhaps losing her husband had left her searching for her place. Were her fancy clothes and jewelry merely armor to keep herself strong? I began to wonder if her different attitudes towards me and my sister-in-law were attempts to mask her vulnerabilities. However, her excessive desires and inability to control them were a separate issue. Making wrong judgments had led to this unfortunate incident. I was surprised to see the event escalate to this magnitude. Realizing that she had been using the spare key to enter our house without our knowledge genuinely terrified me. Later, I found out that the couple living diagonally across from us had reported her. The wife, who works from home, had noticed my mother-in-law entering our yard suspiciously multiple times and found it odd. I'm nothing but grateful for their brave actions. Since then, we've been leading a peaceful life. To be safe, we changed our locks and stopped hiding a spare key in the yard. Mike severed ties with his mother and made her promise not to contact us ever again. If she attempted to, he warned of legal action. After her release, she returned to her rural childhood home and is reportedly leading a humble life, a stark contrast to her past lavish lifestyle. Being watched by her father, she helps around the house from early morning. I truly hope she reevaluates her past excessive actions. Meanwhile, my own father has moved in with us. In case my mother-in-law decides to pay another unexpected visit, he's here to ensure my safety. But there's another reason he's with us. I'm currently expecting our first child. Anticipating the birth of his grandchild, my kind father and the support of Mike make me want to be a mother who embodies both tenderness and strength. While money and possessions can provide a sense of fulfillment, it's the presence of loved ones that truly fills the heart. We're discussing living arrangements and surrounded by those dear to us. We aim to protect our peaceful daily lives,